Alright guys, welcome back to JForce Gaming, and today we have this really interesting controller called this QRD Stellar T5 controller, that is for your Switch. But not only, like I said, this is only for Switch, but this thing can also be used on your Android, iOS, and also PC as well. So this thing, not only you can use it on Switch but on the other platforms as well. So this controller is really interesting, but their main focus point is on the Switch itself. So if you are getting this for the Nintendo Switch, the version 1 or the Nintendo Switch OLED, this can both support both of them. So let's do a quick unboxing to see what you get when you get this controller. And I'm going to talk about the features and such with this controller itself, and why is this a total game changer for your Nintendo Switch. So once you open up, we are presented with the controller itself. With it is covered with the anti-dust cover. And we get the controller itself. Let me just get the controller out. And we have a charger. I think this is a USB-C to a USB-A cable. Pretty decent for you to charge up the controller, and as well as a D-pad. I don't know if you guys let me see if my camera can focus. So yeah, this is the D-pad itself that you can change. If you don't like the default D-pad on the actual controller itself. So if you don't like this, you can change the D-pad. Very nice, very versatile, so you can switch around. And that's basically what you get inside the box. So yeah, pretty standard accessories. And let's just talk about the interesting parts of this controller. So let me just take out the protective foam to protect the controller in shipping. And let's take a look at this controller itself. It looks so good. It is so well built in hand. Every part of it is so well built. As you guys can see. The quality of this controller is very premium. It doesn't feel like those cheap Bluetooth wireless controller out there you get for about the same price. This thing is way higher quality. And this thing, like I said, this thing support the Nintendo Switch. So I have a Nintendo Switch right here. And I'm going to show you why this controller takes your Nintendo Switch to the next level. So as you guys can see, this is the normal standard controller on your Nintendo Switch, a bit small. So the good thing about this controller is it instantly pairs with your Nintendo Switch. Let me just get the original controller out. And this is your Nintendo. This is the controller itself. It can also be released. Just have to push one button at the back, and you can just slide it out like the normal Nintendo Switch. So this is the base frame itself for the controllers itself. I'm going to talk more about the base frame itself. So now let's go to the Switch itself. So this controller directly slide on into your Switch. And the Switch automatically detects and connects the controller, so you don't have to do any configuration or connecting at all. So yeah, so let me just turn on my Switch, and you can see they ask me to press A. And you can see it instantly connects to it. You don't need to go through any settings, to configure it, all this and that. Just plug it into your Switch, and it instantly connects to your Switch. That's how easy it is, to work with this controller. And you can see your Switch is so much better. It's more like a handheld device nowadays. It is much better to grip on, compared to the original controller, which is very small. So you can see the difference right now. And as you can see, it is so much smaller compared to this one. And it feels so much better to grip and to play your games on the Switch itself. So much more grip space. And also this controller also can support docking station. So if you just plug onto your dock, and it just sits very well. So it's not blocking any bottom. So it's not too low. It will block. As you can see, it sits perfectly on the desk, and you can just take it out. So this can be a total replacement. This can be a total replacement for your Switch controller. And like I said before, for the base itself, you can also put your normal Switch controller into it. So it's very versatile. As you can see, and you have another controller basically. So yeah, So let me just talk about the features, alright, on what's so special about this controller compared to the original controller, alright. As you guys can see, the very first difference that you guys can see is definitely it is much bigger, alright, which is much better to hold it in hands. And second of all, as you guys can see, there is RGB light on the joystick itself, alright. And this joystick, this RGB light can be changed. There are 8 different colors that you can change to, and you can set the level of brightness that you prefer, right, on the RGB controller. So if you're playing it at night, you can dim the brightness as well, and there are different configuration for the RGB. So it's really, really cool, alright. And the main thing about gaming controller is the joystick itself, alright. So this joystick right here, alright, it is the Hall effect controller, alright. So what Hall effect joystick is basically it prevents stick drifting as well, alright. One of the most common issues, even in like those very high-end controllers, they have these stick drifting issues. Like your normal PlayStation or Xbox controller, they also face with this issue, although they cost 4 to 5 times more than this controller, right? And this thing is an issue where you just left your joystick normally untouched, but in the game itself, your character is moving on its own, alright. So this is called the stick drifting, and it's very common in controller where they degrade over time. But with this, it prevents that from happening. And the best thing about this joystick is also that it is very, very precise, alright. So because Hall effect joystick, alright, they are very, very precise. So any small details, alright, so any small little movement, alright, it will be detected into the game itself, alright. So you can have a very precise control, especially if you're playing FPS game on your Nintendo Switch, alright. This thing can accurately control where you want to aim, so it is very, very useful, alright. So it takes your gaming experience up to the next level, alright. And the next cool thing about this is at the back of this, there is additional programmable buttons that you can use, alright, to program additional features for your game, alright. For convenience sake, alright, so you can use this to have additional control, so you can much better switch to maybe different objects or items that you need in game for better combat experience, or looting experience or whatever. So these are programmable, where you guys can switch between any of the how you want it to be. So very, very awesome and very versatile, right? And the next thing about this is inside here also have a gyro stick. So this is a 6-axis gyro, which is much more precise than the I think this is only 4-axis or 5, I'm not sure, but it's much more precise. So if you're playing like Mario Party or anything that requires a gyroscope, this thing will be much precise as well, and you can mostly play any games that uses gyroscope itself, alright. And this also have a built-in motor, which is much bigger than the original one, so they give you a much stronger feedback to give you a more immersive experience, alright. So the vibration feedback on this is much more intense and much more immersive compared to the original controllers that you get on your normal Switch itself. Alright, and now let's talk about the triggers itself, right? So this triggers has a multi-mode turbo function, which can have rapid fire, continuous firing, all this, alright, using this, compared to the traditional one where the triggers are not that good, alright. The normal Switch triggers are is decent, but it's not that great, alright. This thing has few functions, so you can have continuous, when once click, you're continuous, maybe for firing games, alright, this thing will be really cool, or driving games, alright. You'll feel much better to press down on it compared to any other compared to the original one itself, alright. Okay, so if you let me just take this thing out, alright. So you can play this wirelessly as well on your Nintendo Switch. Alright, so you can just put the Switch on the table itself. Alright. Oops, what did I press? Alright, and just slide this in. Or you can pass this to your friend, and they can use this at like a normal Joy-Con also, so you can have 2 players using the joystick. Really cool. Alright. And you can control your Nintendo Switch. You can see I'm controlling. I don't know if you guys can see, but you can control it wirelessly as well. So yeah. Okay, so really, really cool. Alright, so you can use this as a controller itself. And on this one, it can shows you how many percentage left on your controller itself. Alright, So when you find that your controller is low, you can always charge it, right? There's charging port at the bottom to charge up both controller, or you can just plug into the switch and the switch will charge the controller like the normal Joy-Cons, alright? Or you can just use this, alright, and you have an additional pair of controller from your old switch, so you have a total of 2 controllers. So it's really, really awesome, alright? And this thing is very, very worth it, alright? It's not that expensive and it upgrades your whole Nintendo Switch experience, alright? So whether on what games you're playing on, it gives you a much better experience, much better feedback and controls over your game itself, alright, compared to the older Switch controllers, alright. So yeah, so you guys want to check out this controller, go ahead and check out the first link in the video description down below, where where you guys can check out and get this for yourself. Highly recommend you guys to get this, alright, because if you were to mainly buy this for your Switch, and if you want to use it on your Android phones, use it control your Android phones or play games on your PC, alright, and you are looking for a controller, you can certainly get this, because you can use this to control your PC games as well, or your Android or iOS games. So this thing has a wide range of compatibility that is not only limited to your Switch, alright. Most of the Switch controller that is made specifically for Switch, alright, doesn't work on other platforms, but with this, it works on other platforms, and the battery life is really, really good, alright. So you don't really have to charge it, alright, for a long period of time. Maybe it can last you 48 hours or 72 hours before you need to charge on continuous gameplay. So yeah, it's really, really awesome, alright, with all the additional programmable buttons, Hall effect joystick, the D-pad can be changed, all this can be customized to your own preference, which is really awesome for a gamer like me, which I find is really, really interesting and really awesome, and elevate your Switch gaming experience. Alright, so yeah, once again, if you want to check out this controller, go ahead and check out the first link in the video description down below and get this controller for yourself. Alright, so yeah, that's about it, guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And this is JForce Gaming, and I shall see you guys in my next video. Peace out.
I don't wanna cry.